They thought a little fire could burn away the past. But oh, how wrong they were. I caught the HOA queen bee herself, clipboard clutched like a scepter, posing by the charred remains of my shed as if she'd just performed a public service. My grandpa's rusty tools, Dad's old war trunk stuffed with secrets. Poof, gone in a puff of community standards. All because some busybody board decided my backyard eyesore offended their manicured sensibilities. But let's rewind a bit, shall we? My name's Alex Rivera, and I'm not your average suburban drone buzzing under the HOA's thumb. I'm the quiet guy at the end of Willow Creek Lane, the one folks whisper about, the recluse with the overgrown yard and that rickety shed that predates half the McMansions in this so-called idyllic neighborhood. They call it Evergreen Estates, but trust me, it's more like a pressure cooker of petty rules and fake smiles, where your mailbox color can spark a civil war. I've lived here my whole life, inheriting the place from Dad, who inherited it from Grandpa. And buried in that inheritance? A little something the HOA never bothered to Google. Ownership of the old dam upstream, the one that keeps this entire valley from turning into a soggy disaster zone every rainy season. Grandpa was no ordinary vet. He came back from the war with scars, stories, and a gig with the Army Corps of Engineers. Back in the 50s, they built that dam to tame the wild creek snaking through our land. Concrete beast holding back floods, powering the local grid a bit, and ensuring nobody downstream wakes up to a basement aquarium. When the Corps wrapped up, they didn't just hand it over to the county. Nope, they deeded it to Grandpa for stewardship. Fee simple title, folks. Fancy words for it's mine, all mine. He maintained it like a religion, passing the torch to Dad, who passed it to me. But in Evergreen, where the HOA reigns supreme with their bylaws thicker than a phone book, nobody remembers history. They just see rules. I kept to myself, nodding politely at block parties while rumors swirled. Alex is letting the place go, they'd say over wine coolers. That shed's a hazard, probably full of junk. Boy no? Oh yeah, they painted me as the neighborhood slob, the guy who didn't fit the vision. But I watched, I listened, and I filed every snide comment away, just like Dad taught me. Paper and patience, son. They beat bluster every time. Started small like most HOA horror shows do. A pink slip on my door. Lawn exceeds maximum height per section 4.2. My grass was maybe an inch over, fresh from a weekend rain. But there it was, official as a parking ticket. I mowed it, shrugged it off. Then came the next. Unauthorized exterior modifications. Shed violates aesthetic guidelines. The shed? That thing was older than the HOA charter, built by the same core crew that poured the dam. But no, to them, it was a blight. I ignored it, figuring it'd blow over like the last infraction about my truck's mud splatters. Enter Karen. Wait, her real name's Evelyn Hargrove, but let's be honest, she's the archetype. President of the Evergreen HOA board, with her perfectly coiffed bob, pearls that screamed, I'm in charge, and a smile that could curdle milk. She showed up one sunny afternoon, heels sinking into my gravel drive like she was staking a claim. Mr. Rivera, she cooed, clipboard at the ready. We're all about community harmony here. That shed is just not aligning with our vision. Think of the property values. I leaned on my porch rail, coffee mug in hand, playing the part of the befuddled neighbor. Vision, huh? My grandpa built that with his bare hands. Holds family history. Her eyes narrowed, that polite facade cracking just a hair. History is lovely, dear, but bylaws are bylaws. Submit a variance request or we'll have to escalate. Escalate. The word dripped with faux concern, like she was doing me a favor by threatening fines. I nodded, said nothing more. But inside, I was cataloging. That night, I dug out Dad's old binder from the shed. Deeds, permits, core letters yellowed with age. This is your shield, he'd say, tapping the pages with a calloused finger over late-night smokes. HOAs come and go, but recorded title? That's forever. The shed wasn't just storage. It was my archive, proof that the dam and the land around it was mine, not some community asset they could bully. The whispers ramped up. At the next block watch, I overheard Evelyn holding court. Poor Alex, letting sentiment cloud judgment. We can't have hazards endangering our children. Hazards? The shed was solid as the dam itself. but she spun it masterfully, turning me into the villain in their little suburban soap opera. Neighbors averted eyes when I walked by, like I was the one torching civility. Still, I stayed silent. Patience, right? But Evelyn, she feared losing her grip more than anything. Her board, yes men like Vice President Gary, with his perpetual smirk, and Secretary Paula, typing minutes like Holy Writ, fed her ego. We're preserving order, she'd preach at meetings, voice honeyed but eyes steel. Order meant control, and my shed? It mocked her. One evening, smoke curled over the ridge. I smelled it first, acrid, wrong. Rushed out back, and there it was. My shed engulfed in flames, Evelyn standing nearby with a fire extinguisher, looking oh so heroic. Community safety burn, she called out as sirens wailed in the distance. It was condemned, Alex. You should thank us. We prevented a disaster. Thank them? Grandpa's tools, Dad's journals, ashes. My war chest of documents? Scorched. But not all. I'd scanned backups, hidden copies. She waved an incident report like a flag of victory. Bylaws authorize abatement of nuisances. It's for the greater good. I stood there, flames reflecting in my eyes, and said nothing. Just watched her smirk falter when I didn't explode. Inside, though, the floodgates creaked open. The aftermath was a farce wrapped in red tape. Neighbors gawked from lawns, murmuring, "Did he really let it get that bad?" Evelyn milked it, posting on the community app, "Successful hazard removal, thanks to vigilant board action." Likes poured in from the sheeple, but a few dissenting comments got deleted faster than you could say, censorship. I called the sheriff, not in rage but calm. "Arson on my property," I said. He arrived, badge gleaming, eyeing the smoldering pile. Evelyn fluttered up, clipboard thrusting forward. "Sheriff, this was authorized. See? Vote minutes from last meeting." He skimmed it, brow furrowing. "Authorized by who?" "This land's private deed, ma'am. HOA jurisdiction ends at common areas." Her face twitched, that perfect mask slipping. "But community standards. It's unsightly. Could collapse any day." I pulled out my phone, showing a photo of the shed pre-fire. Sturdy, unremarkable. Collapse? It withstood storms older than your bylaws. The sheriff nodded, jotting notes. "We'll investigate. Meantime, no trespassing." Evelyn huffed off, muttering about ungrateful residents. But the seed was planted. Rumors shifted. Did the board really burn it? Whispers in garages, over fences. I stayed quiet, letting the pot simmer. Days later, another notice, special assessment for dam maintenance. $500 per household. The dam? My dam. Evelyn's email dripped sanctimony. "As stewards of our valley, we're ensuring safety. Pay promptly to avoid liens." Stewards? I chuckled darkly. They'd never touched it. My family had shouldered inspections, repairs, everything. But now, post-fire, they claimed it as community infrastructure. Bold. Stupid. At the emergency meeting, the hall buzzed like a hive. Evelyn at the podium, pearls choking her neck. "Friends, the dam's aging. We've contracted experts. Funds needed urgently." A hand shot up, mine. First time I'd spoken publicly. "Experts? Mind sharing the report?" She blinked, smile tight. "It's preliminary, Alex. Trust the board, we're acting in good faith." "Good faith?" I echoed mildly. "Like burning my shed?" Gasped. Gary jumped in, smirk wobbling. "That was abatement, not arson. Move on." I slid a folder across the table, copies of deeds, core transfers. "This dam's on my titled land. Private. Your stewardship is trespass." The room erupted. Neighbors who'd paid fines grumbled. "We funded what?" Evelyn pounded her gavel. "Order. This is misinformation. The dam benefits all. It's implied community property." "Implied?" I leaned back, letting her dig. "Show the easement, then. Recorded, right?" Silence. Paula typed furiously, avoiding eyes. Evelyn's voice pitched higher. "Usage over decades grants U.S. authority. Don't be selfish, Alex." Selfish. The word hung like bad perfume. but eyes turned doubtful now. One neighbor piped up, "My assessment check. Where'd it go if he's right?" Evelyn's facade cracked further. "To repairs. Safety first." I stood, voice even. "Repairs on my property? Without permission. That's theft." The meeting dissolved into chaos. Evelyn adjourned early, fleeing with her board. But the damage? Done. Whispers turned to shouts. Petitions circulated. And me? I filed a formal complaint with the county, attaching every scrap of evidence. Patience paying off. The escalation hit like a flash flood. Evelyn doubled down, sending goons, inspectors, to assess the dam. They showed up with hard hats and clipboards, poking around my embankment. "HOA orders," one grunted. I met them at the gate, arms crossed. "Orders? From who?" "This is private land." The lead guy shifted uncomfortably. "Ms. Hargrove said it's urgent, structural concerns." Concerns. I pulled out my phone, dialing the sheriff mid-sentence. "Trespassing boys. Smile for the body cam." They scattered like roaches. Evelyn's response? A cease and desist letter. Cease spreading false claims or face defamation suit. Defamation. For truth? I laughed. Dark. Bitter. Hired a lawyer, a shark named Reyes who specialized in HOA takedowns. "They overreached," he said, grinning over coffee. "Ultravire's acts beyond authority. We'll nail them." Meanwhile, the neighborhood app blew up. Anonymous posts. Boards embezzling? Evelyn moderated ruthlessly, but leaks sprung. A whistleblower, Paula's assistant, slipped me financials. Padded invoices. Dam fund siphoned to mystery vendors. At the next meeting, tension thick as fog. Evelyn opened with platitudes. "Unity in crisis. Friends." But hands flew up. "Where's the money? Why burn the shed?" She stammered, pearls twisting. "Necessary actions. For harmony." I rose again, binder in hand. Harmony? Like this. Projected scans. Deeds. Taxes paid by Riveras for 70 years. No HOA interest. Zero. Gary sneered. "Old papers." Community evolved. Evolved into fraud? I countered. A neighbor shouted agreement. Evelyn's gavel cracked, literally splintering. Adjourned. But the tide turned. Recall petitions hit critical mass. Evelyn panicked, calling an informational session. "There," she played victim. "Alex's vendetta threatens us all. The dam could fail." Fail? My inspections were impeccable. I interjected. "Prove it." Certified engineer. She had none. Just bluster. The room booed actual booze. Her mask shattered, voice shrill. "Ingrates. I built this community." Built? On lies. The sheriff arrived mid-rant, warrant in hand. "Audit time, ma'am." The high point crashed in court. Varnish scent mixing with Evelyn's desperation sweat. I sat plaintiff side, binder fortress before me. Across, Evelyn and crew huddled behind glossy HOA handbooks. Like those could trump deeds. Judge Harlan entered. "No nonsense. Chain of title, folks. Show it." I presented. Deed 1948. Core transfer. Maintenance logs. All recorded. Evelyn stood, voice quavering. "Your Honor, RCC and RS define standards. Usage grants authority." He tapped his pen. "Recorded easement? Deed interest." Crickets. Gary mumbled about practice. Paula fidgeted. "Ultravires," the judge intoned. "Acts beyond scope voidable. Personal liability possible." Evelyn flushed. "But community intent." "Intent doesn't file at the recorder's office," he snapped. I slid the clincher. County letter confirming no dedication. Gavel down. TRO granted. No interference. Audit HOA finances now. Gallery gasped. Neighbors cheered. Evelyn deflated, pearls dull. Outside, sheriff murmured, "Truth's out, Alex. Fraud charges pending." The settlement conference was poetry. Evelyn's lawyer spread papers, cufflinks jittery. Clauses. Fines rescinded, rebuild check, apology. Association admits unauthorized abatement. Dam private. Evelyn signed, hands shaking. This is extortion. No, Reyes quipped. Justice. At the final meeting, Evelyn read the apology. Voice cracking. Wrongful interference. Commits to non-interference. Room rippled vindication. Reporter. Resigning. Board froze. Collapse. Reforms followed. Access protocols, logs, no overreach without records. Audit exposed slush funds, shell companies, padded bills. Recall unseated them. New board. Sane folks. We rebuilt the shed. Neighbors pitching in. Laughter amid sweat. A box appeared. Dad's backup journals, stashed by a sympathetic soul. That night, under lamplight, his words, protect the water. It protects you. Notes prove diligence. Never let committees rewrite rivers. On the new slab, I filmed, ownership stewardship, not dominance. Papers guard it all. Phone buzzed. Upstream HOA filing claims. Fight's not over. But was the HOA truly the villains, or just misguided guardians of a flawed system? Drop your thoughts. Did they deserve the flood, or was silence the real crime?